was going to film this video indoors, but I thought, you know what, it's really nice outside, so might as well film it out here. Thank you for joining me once again. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you've seen the other videos, terima kasih. With my videos, I'm just going to try to pass on interesting things that I've learned that I feel like a lot of people could benefit from. And judging by the feedback on the last couple of vids, there's quite a few of you out there who are actually getting value from these, so it's really encouraging for me to keep making these. So without further ado, this next video is going to be entitled How to Bounce Out of Bed. Now just zooming out for 1 second, let's talk about life. Life, it's an incredible experience. This planet that we're all on it's a beautiful manifestation. It's a masterpiece of nature. I mean, behind me you can see the this is I'm currently in Tweed Heads in New South Wales, and there's good waves today, so there's about 100 people out there riding the vibrations of the universe on a Saturday morning. You know, what could be better? I feel that the way we're raised, we don't really taught an appreciation for the length and the quality of life necessarily. When you look at movies and television and stories and books and everything, you get this feeling like people think they're invincible. God forbid you were to bring up the topic of death at any point, you know, then you'd be such a downer. But I find, I mean, I'm going to make a longer video about death at some point, but I mean, I find that death is just the conclusion to this wonderful experience. So to think about that conclusion, to think about the fact that it will end at some point, if anything, makes you more grateful about the experience you're having right now, because you don't know when it will be over. Nobody gets to choose when their life is over. I mean, unless you commit suicide maybe. But generally, no one knows. And it's highly unlikely that you will end up being, you know, 80, 90 years old, surrounded by family, and you get to say one last thing, and then with your last breath, you kind of pass away in front of your loved ones. That old scenario from all the movies and stuff, it's quite unlikely. I mean, some people die at 30, some at 10, some at 50, some at 80. Not knowing when this life will end should put a bit of emphasis on you trying to get the most out of the life that you have. I don't know how much time I've left. You know, maybe it's 5 years. So if it is only a short period or a long period, what is it that would guarantee that you have the best possible experience? Because the length of life doesn't really matter so much as the quality of the life that you lived. So I think whatever time you have left, it's important to figure out ways to bring the maximum amount of energy into every day and into every situation, really. If you have 5 years left to live, but you're really sleepy every single day, then, well, that sucks. So I've spent a bit of time trying to figure out how can I boost my own energy levels naturally, and I actually came up with a few good solutions. Just to give you a little bit of background, I actually used to struggle massively with waking up in the morning and being like high vibration and just kind of bouncing out of bed. That used to be a mad struggle for me. When I talk to people and we kind of get on the topic of like diets and lifestyle and whatever, I always say that I turned 27 and the next year I turned 15. And in all honesty, in the last 5 years, I've actually had the energy levels that I would compare with when I was 15 every single day. And it's from a few simple tips and tricks that I'm going to share with you now. Before you go to sleep, have a glass of water. You're made of 70% water. You need it for literally everything. If you were stuck out in the wilderness and you didn't get to eat any food for like a week or two or whatever, you'd actually still be fine. If you don't have any water for just like a few days, you die. So you need water. Drink 1 glass, not 2, otherwise you will have to get up and pee in the middle of the night. Drink 1 glass of water before you go to sleep, and when you wake up in the morning, have 2 glasses of water just to get you started again. Also, to really allow your body to go into that deep sleep, it's preferable to have a pitch black room. So get rid of any flashing LED lights, make sure your phone is turned upside down if you get some bloody Twitter message. Matter of fact, put your phone on airplane mode. But yeah, just turn off any like light emitting devices and try to close your blinds or whatever properly so that it's really dark. If you're using a laptop or a phone at night, especially before you sleep within like half an hour, 2 hours. The blue light that comes from these devices actually impacts our circadian rhythm, which is basically the pattern of falling asleep and waking up that we have programmed inside us. There is an app called Flux, Flux, which if you install it on your laptop, and I think you can get it for your phone as well, after the sun goes down at night, it starts to slowly remove the blue out of your phone screen. So by the time you actually go to sleep or you close your laptop at 8, 9 o'clock at night or something, you will have a really orange screen. It's a trip. But apparently the blue light, removing the blue light will help you sleep better. Now in terms of how long you sleep, most people don't know this, but we actually sleep in 90-minute cycles. It's why they make movies 90 minutes, for instance. Our brains really enjoy 90-minute windows. They say ideally you should sleep either 6 hours, 7.5, or 9 hours. Shouldn't be more than that, shouldn't be less than that. I generally try to sleep 6. I set an alarm to wake up. But what I'll do is I will allow 6 hours of sleep, and then I'll allow an extra half an hour just for me to get to sleep. And when you set the alarm on your phone, put it across the room so that it forces you to have to wake up in the morning, actually get up. Because the biggest battle is really as you wake up to then kind of just commit and get into your day. So if you have to get up and walk across the room, that's kind of like a trigger goal that will get you going. If it's right next to you, chances are your primal lazy brain is kind of just going to go, all right, just slap that alarm and then back to sleep. All right, so this is all just like preparation for the night before. Now let me get into the really important techniques. There's really 2 main techniques I want to share with you, which you may not have considered before. I know I hadn't, and they're really, really powerful. So I went on a trip to Fiji about, sometime within the last year, and me and Rochelle, me and my girlfriend, we stayed at this resort. It's like a 5-star island resort, and they had a yoga teacher. She was really fit. She looked like she really knew what she was doing. Her diet and stuff you could see, like, because everyone would share meals together and stuff, you could see she had very specific diet she was eating. She just looked like she knew her shit. So one night we were having dinner with her, and I decided to ask her some questions just to find out a little bit more about her practices for healthy living, essentially. She looked like she probably knew a lot of stuff that I didn't. And one of the questions I asked her was, what's your morning routine? And she explained to me a trick that I have been implementing literally ever since. And it goes like this. When you wake up in the morning, so the alarm goes off, you get up, walk across the room, turn it off, then she'll sit back on the bed, okay? And what you do now is you start with your toes, and you basically just put your feet out, and you go and you know what, let me take these off for a second. So what you do is you go and you stretch your toes 10 times, nice and slow. I'm probably doing it too fast right now. Have a lot of intention when you're doing this. So just like, don't rush into your day, obviously, the first minute you're awake. Just be nice and slow, and you'll be sitting there, and you'll probably be running at like 30% battery when you first wake up. You're like still basically half in the dream world and a little bit here. At this point, just start stretching your toes 10 times, nice and slow. When you've done that, move on to your ankles, and just move both your ankles clockwise or whatever 10 times, nice and slow. Then you move on to your knees, so you just kind of like just move at the knee joint 10 times. Then do whatever movement you want to do your hips. You can kind of like, if you're standing up, you can do a kind of a squat. You know, you can just kind of go like that. Anything to activate that area. So like that, just do 10 of those. Then move on to shoulders. So just do 10 big circles like that. Okay, then 10 times on the elbows. Then you do 10 of the wrist. This whole thing should take a few minutes, you know. So just go 10 times with the wrist, then your fingers. You're trying to hit every joint in your body. Then you go like 1, 2, 3, 4. You do that 10 times, then side to side. They say not to roll your neck. You should always go side to side and then front to back. And then an important one as well is to stretch out your jaw. Us in the West, apparently, we have really, really tight jaws because we're always clenching and stressed and whatever. So just go like that. Just stretch it as far as you can and just hold it, okay? And it'll release a lot of this tension. Now, what you've done there, you're kind of priming your joints. Yeah, that's one aspect, right? You're kind of getting everything moving, because sometimes you can spend an entire day, if you just go and sit down at your desk and just start working, you may not warm up your knees and your ankles and your hips at all, right? And if you don't use it, you lose it eventually. So it's good to kind of prime all these joints. But what she explained, which was far more interesting, is what you're actually doing is you're activating every single energetic part of your body. So, I mean, like, I believe in like chakras and stuff, because it just kind of makes sense that there is an energy field that is keeping me alive, right? Something that isn't physical, that I can't really see, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I mean, if you take a lawnmower apart and then put the lawnmower back together, it works. If I take a dog apart and then put the dog back together, something's now missing, right? So whatever the fuck that is probably something that exists at a higher vibration, a higher dimension, and we can't perceive it with our eyeballs. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Now, either way, the Chinese in the East, they kind of been describing this for thousands of years in the form of like chakra systems, which are like these different chakra, whatever. So there's all these different points in your body. Now, what she explained, the yoga teacher in Fiji, is that you've just gone through and activated and started up every single one of those energy points. As I said before, when I wake up, I'm usually running at like 30% battery, right? So then I would go into the bathroom and start brushing my teeth. Maybe by the time I've done that, I'm at like 40, you know, then I'll have like a hot shower and I'll come out just freaking depleted. And I'll be at like 50, you know, and then I start making breakfast or something. At some point, by the time I start eating, I'm running at like 60, 70, trying to keep my eyes open, whatever. And then maybe by like 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm running at like 80% battery, and that'll be my peak. Now, with this technique, and I'm really curious to read your comments if you try this for a few days especially, I mean, I've discovered that by the time I actually get out of bed now, by the time I actually like walk out of my bedroom or walk into the bathroom, etc., after I've done this warm-up routine, I'm now running at like 80, sometimes 90% battery. I'm just like, suddenly, it's like it's the middle of the day and I've only been awake for 5 minutes. It's incredible. Now, to finish that whole routine, there is one other thing I'd like you to try, and I got this from Wim Hof, the Iceman, who, if you look him up, there's a great report on him on Vice TV. He's a Dutch guy who set like 12 Guinness World Records. Basically, he manipulates his breath to charge his body with oxygen, and thereby he can do these amazing feats, like he climbed Mount Everest in the snow in a pair of swimming trunks and didn't succumb to hypothermia. And he has the distance record for diving underneath an ice sheet, you know, like all these crazy things. But he's basically found that because we all live such comfy lifestyles now, you know, and we're working in offices and etc., we're just always looking to lounge. We actually just breathe really shallow. We're only using a tiny little bit of our lung capacity at all times. We're just sitting there going. What he's discovered is that if you actually just do 20 breaths, and what you do is you breathe in deeper, you breathe into your belly, and you breathe in deeper, you breathe in more than you breathe out, you can actually charge your body up with oxygen, which gives you energy. So what I do is, at the end of my warm-up routine, I'll then sit there and I'll go just do that 20 times. Now, if you get lightheaded, good. It just means that you've charged yourself up to like near your max. Getting lightheaded just means that you've basically expelled all your CO2 out of your body and you've just charging yourself up. Try that and see whether it just snaps you right out of that lethargy, because it does for me, and I've been doing it for like 9 months straight now. Also, a note on showers as my last note is I used to shower hot and like really hot all the time and going like, yeah, awesome. But the problem is it opens up all your pores and you just kind of start leaking energy everywhere. And then you'll come out and you'll just be like this soft potato kind of thing. So instead, I don't always do this, try cold showers. Cold showers, if you can just man the fuck up and just go in there and just do a countdown, go 3, 2, 1, and just turn on the cold and just stay in there for like 20 seconds. Like, man, when you come out, it's like you're glowing, like you're just on fire, right? Like, we're not on fire, you're frozen, but in the best possible way. You'll just be alive, right? Now, if you don't want to go all the way with that, then I suggest if you have a hot shower, finish it on cold, because you'll already be really hot anyway. So when the cold water hits, it will be way easier on your system. Just trust me, don't walk out of that shower and just be like steaming with hot water, because you're just setting yourself up to have a really sleepy day. So I think that about covers everything I've discovered about how to wake up properly. And I'd be really interested to see some feedback from you guys. If you could try this for like 2-3 days, just give it a whirl, and just let me know your experiences with it, and whether you're experiencing this difference in your energy levels after you've woken up. You know, like by the time you walk out of the house to start your day, are you more awake? Are you more alert? Are you more like engaged with life? I'd be really keen to read your experiences with it. All right, hope you got something out of this, and I'm gonna think up the next one. All right, thank you very much.